Hey everyone, Shastad here and welcome to another review video. Today I will share with you my impressions and review of Dauntless, the first and for now only game to try to tackle Monster Hunter and in what we call the monster hunting genre. I have played Dauntless for a good year and a half, since early closed beta up to open beta, which is the current state of the game. This is going to be a short and honest review, so do not expect any in-depth details of the game, story spoilers or anything else that can ruin your experience if you are yet to play it. The review will not have any precise structure, but I will go through the following aspects of the game: gameplay, graphics, music, multiplayer aspect, playtime, is it worth the price, as well as add any information on the site such as possible future DLCs or development of the game. I will not strictly have a positive and negative sections, but rather include my feedback, criticism and appraisal throughout the review in all sections. Let us begin then. Dauntless has been around for almost 2 years now, and is the first game which tries to take on the monster hunting genre. What the Monster Hunter series have created is something unique as a gameplay, and Capcom was the only one in their own genre until recently. With Dauntless, this changed a bit. Phoenix Labs decided to go for a similar game which both shares and has differences with Monster Hunter, but this video is not about comparing them. So Dauntless is a game in which you party up with or you go solo to hunt different creatures called behemoths in the game. The game is currently available only on PC, but there are plans to bring it to consoles in the near future. The state of the game is an open beta one, and it is not yet fully released, but everyone who desires can create an account and try it out, as well as support the developers by buying different support editions. Everything relating to the gameplay of the game is free, you only have to pay for cosmetic items. There's also another exception, the sale vendor, who will increase your production and give you more if you invest a bit of real life currency. The graphics of the game are not realistic, but rather take the cel-shaded animation approach similar to games like Team Fortress. The benefit of this is that the system requirements are not very high and everyone can enjoy the game. The downside is that they will not be able to make them very detailed and in-depth as other games, although there is a glimmer of hope for higher end graphics since the game is made on Unreal Engine 4. The graphics are not very demanding, however due to multiple issues there is a very bad optimization currently in the game and you rarely will get above 50 or 60 FPS. I have tested over the year on two platforms, Intel and AMD based ones with GTX 1080 Ti on both systems and a good amount of memory. On both of them however it handled similar and I was not able to pass the 60 FPS mark very often, and the average was around 40. For comparison, I can run many other new AAA titles on epic settings with 50-70 average FPS, so have that in mind when you start playing the game. It's not that it's bad graphically, it's just not yet fully optimized. The music of the game is pretty enjoyable to listen to, although it will get boring after a bit of time since there is not much diversity. I expect this to change since they update it often and add new soundtracks during the different behemoth fights. It has a western feel to it and you will find it similar to what most composers create for fighting games and hunting games. Now let's talk about the gameplay and what the game has to offer. You currently have access to 6 weapons, 5 melee ones, sword, chain blades, axe, hammer, warpike and 1 ranged one, the Austrian repeaters. Although there is a ranged weapon, the combat is centered about staying close and in the deadly range of the behemoth. The weapons are interesting to play, but the combos and attacks are not that many and after a few days or weeks you might start getting bored. There are plans in the roadmap to introduce more combos, aerial combat and expand the fighting system, but for now you have mainly 2 attacks per weapon, a main and a secondary one, combined with 2 to 4 combos and 1 or 2 special abilities. The same applies to the behemoths. There are 27 behemoths currently available in the game, split into different tiers. The problem with them is that half of them are either variants or upgraded versions of previous behemoths. Because of this, some abilities overlap and feel the same. This has had benefits and downsides. The benefits are that you have an easier time dealing with some of the behemoths since there are similarities between the attacks. The downsides, however, are that you will get bored faster and at some point you will find it way too easy to deal with every behemoth in the game. The most recently added 2 behemoths, Koshai and Riftstalker, do add some new mechanics and interesting abilities to the game. If the developers keep going in that direction, this problem will definitely disappear with time. Maybe they can revisit some of the old behemoths at a point and tune them up and spice them up a bit more. For me, the current drawback of the game in its current state is the lack of diversity in the weapons and behemoths. They feel different, but not enough. For an open beta game, it's doing great, but the player base is dropping with time, considering there was actually a waiting queue for 2 weeks when open beta hit, and now there are moments where you cannot find anyone to hunt with. The game took a small hit. You have to agree with me. There is definitely a need for the developers to invest a bit more into expanding what they currently have and making sure that the newly added content is genuinely new rather than a half-breed copy of something already in the game. The game does not yet have a fully developed or polished story. There is a story to be told, but the same as Monster Hunter World, the story is not the main part of the game, so it is understandable that they have put it on a secondary priority. However, for anyone who wants to delve into it, there are still quests and interesting facts you can read and enjoy while you play. Multiplayer is enjoyable and the game scales per player that started the hunt. The more players you have, the easier the hunt will be, if all players do their job, of course. Behemoths become tougher with roughly 33% per player, so doing the simple math, 100% damage per player is 400% damage with 4 players, and the behemoth will be with only 200% tougher, which is 2 times more the damage, with only half increase in toughness. However, this applies only if everyone does their fair share, and like any other game you can find people dying all the time and people carrying a whole team. There is a crafting system for armors, weapons and consumables, which is simple and mostly orientated towards grinding for the time being. The consumables are not that diverse, but new ones get added on a somewhat regular basis. The problem there is that the resources necessary for crafting them are few and overlap, and are not very well balanced. I advise Phoenix Labs to add a bit more resources like in the closed beta and optimize the crafting schematics so that there is a diversity in resources per item rather than having one rare resource overlap on multiple consumables. So, is the game worth the money? Well, it is free to play, so I advise you guys to give it a try. You have nothing to lose except a few hours of playing if you happen to not find it to your liking. The game is good, not perfect but good, will give you what to do for a while and will not hit your wallet while doing that. It has a good prosperity, and if Phoenix Labs plays their cards right, they can make one heck of a game to fill in a market spot and a game spot which is currently open for the taking. Do not get me wrong. I'm not implying that it will compete head to head with Monster Hunter games, because we all know that is neither their idea, neither a reasonable possibility considering the time and years that have been spent nurturing Capcom's unreachable king. But give Dauntless a shot. If you like it, then enjoy it. If you do not, then move on to the next game. Simple as that. This was everything for this review. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you did not, give it a thumbs down. Drop me a comment down below with any feedback, advice or suggestions you might have. Check the links in the description to my Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, Discord and Patreon where you can support me. And if you want to see more content like this, subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon in order to get notifications. Shadow Strider out.